Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely exhausted? Like someone reached into your chest and pulled the life out of you? You're not imagining it, and it's not just social fatigue. There's a deeper reason why you feel drained after certain interactions, and today, we're going to unpack exactly what's going on beneath the surface. This isn't about labeling people as good or bad. It's about understanding how energy works in relationships, how your nervous system reacts to social dynamics, and how you can protect your mental health without cutting everyone off or feeling guilty. If you often feel like you have to recover after talking to certain people, this video is for you. Let's start with the concept of emotional energy. Every interaction you have either gives you energy, drains your energy, or keeps it neutral. It's not always about whether the person is loud, quiet, nice, or rude. It's about what your nervous system is doing in their presence. There's a psychological term called neuroception. It's your body's ability to detect safety or threat without you consciously thinking about it. In other words, even if someone is smiling at you and being nice, your body might not feel safe. Maybe their tone is unpredictable. Maybe they talk over you. Maybe they expect too much from you emotionally. Your brain and body pick up on that, and it sends you into a subtle state of stress. Your heart rate increases slightly. Your muscles tense up. You're paying extra attention to their mood, their reactions, and their words. All of that takes energy. This is especially true if you are someone who has experienced emotional trauma or has grown up in an environment where you had to be hyper-aware of other people's emotions. That instinct doesn't go away. It shows up in your adult relationships, sometimes without you realizing it. You might find yourself constantly monitoring how others are feeling, adjusting your words, minimizing your own emotions, and making sure everyone else is okay. But who's checking in on you? That's where emotional labor comes in. Emotional labor isn't just something employees do in customer service. It's something we all do in relationships. It's the mental and emotional effort it takes to keep things smooth, to avoid conflict, and to protect the feelings of others. If you're doing that constantly with someone, managing their emotions, filtering yourself, absorbing their negativity, you're burning emotional fuel, and eventually, you run out. Now let's talk about people who unconsciously drain others. They're not always toxic. In fact, they might be kind, struggling, or even fun to be around at times, but they rely heavily on others to regulate their emotions. They vent without asking if you have the capacity to listen. They unload their problems on you like it's your job to fix them. They dominate conversations without asking how you're doing. And sometimes they interrupt your peace with drama they could have handled themselves. When someone constantly looks to you to carry the weight of their emotional world, it can be, well, overwhelming. And if you're the type of person who naturally gives, listens, and tries to help, you might not realize just how much you're carrying until you're completely depleted. So how do you know this is happening? Here are some signs to pay attention to. You feel anxious before seeing them. You start mentally rehearsing the conversation. You feel on edge during the interaction. You leave feeling tired, irritated, or low. And maybe you even need to isolate yourself for hours afterward just to recover. That's not just introversion. That's emotional overload. It's important to know that feeling this way doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you don't care. It just means your body is, asking for protection. So let's talk about how to protect your emotional energy. First, name what's happening. Awareness is everything. If you don't know that someone drains your energy, you'll keep exposing yourself without boundaries and then wondering why you feel off. Once you name it, you can move with intention instead of guilt. Second, reduce the intensity or frequency of the interaction. You don't have to ghost anyone or make a dramatic exit. Sometimes, limiting the time you spend, choosing different settings to meet, or spacing out interactions can make a huge difference. Third, use light but firm boundaries. You don't always have to explain yourself in depth. Simple statements like, "I'm not in the space to talk about heavy stuff today," or "Let's keep this light. I've had a long day," can protect you without causing unnecessary conflict. Fourth, preserve time after draining interactions to recharge. Don't schedule something important immediately afterward. Give yourself the space to come down, reconnect with yourself, and restore your balance. And finally, ask yourself a hard but necessary question. Is this relationship sustainable in the long term? If someone consistently drains you, dismisses your boundaries, or shows no interest in how you're doing, it might be time to reevaluate the role they play in your life. Not all relationships are meant to last forever, and protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's responsible. Feeling drained by people isn't a sign that you're weak. It's a sign that your emotional energy is finite, and it's time to use it more wisely. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to your mind, your time, or your heart. You don't owe anyone constant availability, and you don't need to prove your worth through emotional labor. Start paying attention to how you feel after conversations. Your energy is the evidence. Let it guide you. Let it tell you the truth you've been ignoring. Because sometimes the most healing thing you can do is listen to what your body has been trying to say all along. This connection is costing you too much.